How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What up, Will?
What up?
Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy, Will. And this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts, right? UFC, one, sometimes boxing. Did you watch the boxing match last night?
I watched the highlights of the Tank fight. I didn't watch the whole thing. There's too many fights this weekend.
Oh, dude. So, yeah, exactly. So many fights, but that's why we're here to talk. So many fights. Exactly. But if this is your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you don't know where to find us, storyofthefight.com literally will show you everywhere you can find us, whether it's just, listening through audio podcasts or watching on the YouTubes or the Spotifys. Many options.
Yeah, and the best part, when you go to storyofthefight.com, it's just a list of each link, each platform. So pick your platform, subscribe, do all that stuff. Follow, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Now let's get into the fights.
Real easy.
Real easy. So we had another UFC fight night, Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes. Did you see the poster?
Yeah, with like the tape and like it's like supposed to look like a film reel.
I didn't really like it.
You know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because at least they're trying something. You know what I mean? You miss every shot you don't take. And the UFC lately hasn't been taking any shots. They've been doing terrible poster after terrible poster of just, and then it's terrible. At least this has like something
and they just break it down by all the fights.
Yeah, at least this is like something creative. It's a miss for sure, but at least they tried.
It looks so basic to me. Yeah, but hey, what wasn't basic was Sergei Pavlovich in the octagon. He was pretty basic. Do you think so, dude? I loved his performance, man.
I mean, yeah, he's great. It's heavyweights. This is how you want heavyweight fights to go if you're watching the UFC, right? You don't want the fucking slow gassing out, missing most of the shots, plotting, bad technique, all that stuff. You don't necessarily want that. And that's what happens a lot in heavyweight fights. This, at least, they just bit down on their mouthpiece and started trading, which that's what you hope for in a heavyweight fight.
Dude, but even then, like Pavlovich, dude, he's a scary man. He's massive. Yeah. He's powerful. He's got speed for his size. Dude, the way that he like stares his opponents down, like while he's like walking towards them, he puts his head down a little bit and just like looks up with his eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a scary man. But dude, Curtis has been falling in love more and more with his hands.
Yeah, and that was the question, the biggest question. Well, there was a lot of questions going into this one for me, which makes it interesting, which is rare in a heavyweight fight in the UFC. But Curtis Blaydes lately, like you said, he's fallen in love with his boxing, and it's like, okay, he's not very good at blending, setting up his takedowns with his striking. It's either he's either striking or he's shooting, right? And he's
from a distance.
Paid. Yeah, he's paid
shooting
the cost
from a distance
in the past. So it's like, is he going to be better at that? Because he's not going to outbox Pavlovich. It's just not going to happen. And if he takes him down, he probably will dominate on the ground against Pavlovich. Just from what we've seen from Pavlovich, not a lot, right? But Overeem landed that trip and then just beat the brakes off of him when he was on his back. So if he can do that, Blaydes could probably do that. MMA math. But it's like, how is Blaydes going to set up that takedown? The best way possible is to go into the fire and start trading with this guy and make him think, oh, he's going to strike with me? Forget about the takedown. Then he can get it. And it seemed like that was the game plan. And as soon as they started trading, I was like, wait for the shot. He gets hurt. I was like, where's the shot? They start trading again. Then he shoots, and Pavlovich just brick walls him. And I was like, this is not going to go well. This is it. That's it. And that was it.
and the thing is that Curtis Blaydes did catch him a couple times with the right hook on the chin.
Well, and Pavlovich's defense is real bad.
It is. But at the same time, I feel like he stunned him a little bit, but he also was like, oh, I can eat these. No problem.
It didn't faze him at all.
No, because like he was plowing forward, gets caught with the right hook, and he stops, and then he's like, okay. And then he just kept on plodding forward and throwing his shots, and I was like, oh, no, this is not good. And then the jab, man, the strength in the jab for Pavlovich.
Oh
that's what hurt him. What hurt Blaydes.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple
Yeah, and it
times.
was so accurate, right? Like it wasn't like to the face; it was right here, just
Yep.
right on the chin every single time, and just glancing off and then ending up in the throat. Must have been terrible. You imagine eating a
Awful.
throat punch from this dude?
Absolutely not. I'd
That
be dead.
uppercut too. He does this thing where he winds up like fucking Donkey Kong, like he's gonna throw some walloping uppercut from the mat, but instead, as he winds it up, he shoots it forward. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's a really weird shot, and it worked like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and he leads with that sometimes.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's how he was getting caught with that right hand, but it just didn't phase him.
Oh
Just did
man.
nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, after he got rocked with that last jab, and Pavlovich just smelled blood, and he just goes after it. Was just game over, dude.
Yeah, there was one shot too where he dropped him. Where it wasn't like it was like an overhand right that Blaydes kind of rolled with a little bit, but fell down, and it wasn't really. It was a knockdown, but it wasn't like his legs gave out and he dropped. It was just there was so much force coming down on him that it knocked him down. You know what I mean? Which is terrifying.
Rough night for Curtis Blaydes, though. And
I mean, that's what happens, right? Every time he gets close to a title shot, someone starches him, and
that's his MO.
It sucks, man, because I like the guy. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I mean, what's next for Curtis Blaydes?
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. But you know what's next for Sergei Pavlovich?
What?
Who knows?
Title shot?
But it's a title shot. Who knows who will be at the other end of it? But it's going to be a title shot.
So let's say Stipe or John Jones, whoever it is, right, that wins that, or do you go Pavlovich versus Gon?
Well, he already said he's waiting for a title shot, so he'll wait for a title shot, and then John, I guess, is fighting Stipe, and then they're saying John's hinting that might just be his last fight too. If he beats Stipe, he might just retire off that. I don't know, but if Pavlovich fights John Jones, I don't see him getting the win there. John Jones, I think, dismantles him completely.
Yeah.
Those shots don't work
fight
against
IQ.
John Jones. Yeah, those shots do not work.
And his ability to adjust, it's just.
And he can actually mix in takedowns and trips and things like that. I just don't see that going well for Pavlovich. But I mean, he's got the equalizer. That's why they call it that. You can bridge the skill gap with the power. Yeah, the jab.
The jab.
Did you see him? Did you see him in the casino?
Who? Pavlovich?
Yeah, dude.
No.
Hold on, let me pull this up.
What was he doing? Was he partying it up after?
No, this is before.
Oh, before.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen really quick. This was it's so funny. Pulling it up right here. There it is. Okay.
Now I'm really curious. Okay. Sergey just gambling and then KO'd Blaydes 2-0. Oh, this is like right before?
Yeah, dude. He's just
no way.
On the slots, dude.
Oh my God. Okay.
So funny.
Well, I guess when you're
just sitting
that
there
confident,
by himself, just all alone.
I wonder if it was a penny slot.
I wonder if that's why he was calling for the bonus so much at the end. It's like,
he's like, hey, I'm down big. 50. I'm down 50K right now, guys. Oh, that's funny. All right, man. Well, that was it for the main event. Before that, we had Bruno Silva versus Brad Tavares.
Okay. This was a fun fight while it lasted.
Mm-hmm. As most Brad Tavares fights are.
I said I'm trying to be more positive with the UFC, but outside of this fight and the main event, what an awful card. And even this one has some weird shit tied to it that it's just like, what? It was a bad night for the UFC. I don't want to harp on it because I'm trying to be positive, but it was a bad night.
Ever since you started trying to be more positive with the UFC, you realize every week you're like, I'm trying to be more positive, but let me tell you.
It's only been 1 week. It's only been 1 week, man. You got to walk before you can fly,
That's so funny. Look, I love the exchanges. Both these guys, as soon as they got in, in close quarters, would kind of just lean down and throw like big overhand shots to see who would land. Brad, though, at the end started extending a little much, huh?
Well, so that, I think Tavares was landing that check hook a lot, right? Like he was landing the hook, looping punch. Silva switched to straight punches, the 1-2 right down the middle that started landing, and then Tavares was like, I could do that too, and then he started throwing long punches, and then he started extending way too much, and he was getting himself off balance, and
open.
And open, right, and Bruno Silva took advantage of it, and people kind of, I think, discounted Bruno Silva coming into this one because he went in that he had the his last couple fights didn't go his way, right? Obviously, he lost to Alex Bejeda, which was like a back and forth crazy fight, but then he just got like starched by Meerschaert. He just got punched once, and it was like out cold, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bruno Silva not that good." And it's like, hey, man, he just went to war with Alex Bejeda. Like, people get caught sometimes. It's not the end of the world. And then, so people were discounting him a lot coming into this one. So it's pretty cool to see him get it done because he had Tavares hurt like multiple times, and he just stayed with it. Didn't get overconfident, didn't get crazy.
Yeah. But it was a really fun fight either way. And do you think it was an early stoppage?
Terrible stoppage. I see some people who are like, he didn't need to take more damage. And it's like, you could say that at any point in any fight. They're here to take damage. That's what happens. Yeah. But when you get dropped, and he got dropped bad, and then he's on his back, he eats a big shot, right? And then he's hooking for the leg, and he's spinning. It was a terrible stoppage. And people are like, he was going to get finished right then anyways. How do you know that? And anytime that, I hate that argument, he was going to get finished anyways.
Pretty big assumption.
But even then, he was going to get finished anyways implies that he wasn't finished. So why are we stopping it? Yeah. You know what I mean? And we've seen people come back from way crazier. Czech Congo. Yeah, come on. Look at us.
This is probably my favorite.
It's the best example. But honestly, that fight should have been stopped.
Wait, what? Oh, do we have to get Rich to at least watch that after the podcast? We just got to put that clip on of Czech Congo and Pat Barry, because it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it was. What did you think? Did you think it was a bad stoppage? I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't really agree with the stoppage.
Yeah, I saw somebody say, and this is a good point. Someone was like, "Well, the follow-up shot, he didn't even try to block it, so he was clearly like out of it." And it's like that's a decent argument against it, but no shit, he's out of it. He just got dropped. You know what I mean?
But intelligently trying to defend himself still when he goes for the to hook the leg. I think it'd be different if he doesn't try to block that shot and then his eyes are out, staring at the middle of nowhere and glazed look on his face. I don't know.
It was a good move by him though.
What?
Was when he's complaining about it, right? He's still just in guard, kind of sitting there, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's pissed, right? And then he's just sitting there. They bring the stool over, and he looks at it, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "No way am I gonna get up and show that I'm still wobbly while I'm
yeah."
That move by Tavares.
See, but again, he had enough going on to be able to say, wherewithal to be able to say, it's probably gonna be a bad look if I try to stand up and my legs are underneath me.
Don't show them anything.
Oh man! All right, we can move on to the next one. This one, your boy Bobby Green versus Jared Flash Gordon. Probably a little. I'm guessing you're disappointed in the outcome.
Like I said, terrible card. This is just another part. I mean, the main event was great. The last fight we just talked about was great, but it's got a stain on it because of terrible stoppage. This fight, for everything else, is just awful. This was terrible. Yeah. It was kind of fun while it lasted, right? Bobby Green, I think, maybe underestimated Gordon. Came out a little too careless, right? Hands down. He does it all the time, but I don't think he really expected anything. Style. Yeah, but I think usually he's more his awareness is more on point, right? He's more he's more ready. And this one, it seemed like he wasn't really expecting anything coming back his way. And Gordon was piecing him up a little bit, landing good hooks, landing good shots. I think Bobby was losing up until the finish, right? I thought so.
Okay. I was taking a look at the fight. Very first thing I thought of is just what an awkward style. No matter how many times I watch Bobby Green, it's just I can't get used to it, right? But it works for him. It works for him really well. You talk about the Philly shoulder roll, the him being able to roll with punches. And while it might look a lot worse when he is getting attacked, a lot of times it's not that bad for him. And Jared Gordon surprised me a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
Until he got
didn't surprise
headbutted.
me. Yeah, I was going to say his role of bad luck continues. I mean, God, man, this guy cannot catch a break.
So he falls from the headbutt, right? He gets dropped from the headbutt. It's what was it, like the crown of Green's head right into Gordon's temple?
Literally at the top of his head on the side of his face. It was about as bad as it could be.
And for me, it still looked like he was conscious and defending himself up until the first shot from the top lands from Bobby Green. The ground and pound was really bad. So I wonder, like, how much. It's tough to say because the headbutt did get him in that position.
It dropped him. I mean, and it was not a knockdown like Blaydes versus Pavlovich where it was so much force that brought him down. Like, his legs went out.
Yeah.
His head seemed like he was still kind of okay. But he also never really brought the hands up very well on the ground. And then he just ate some massive shots.
Maybe his body just not receiving the signals correctly.
Yeah, probably,
on what he wanted to do. Yeah, that'd be something that I would love to hear from Gordon to see exactly what happened. Or, I mean, I don't know if he remembers, honestly.
He might not. And it sucks because Bobby Green, I mean, he was kind of like darting in with like a up elbow, but he did it like with his head, and it's, open stances. So like the lineup for the headbutt's right there. He got him. It drops him with the headbutt. Yeah, and he's catching a lot of flack because he's pissed about the outcome and like he thinks he should get his money and stuff. And it's so weird when like people flip flop, like UFC fans flip flop, where it's like these fighters deserve to get paid more, all this stuff, and then at the same time they're like shitting on Bobby for wanting his win money, and it's like,
there's a lot of people saying he shouldn't be getting it.
Yeah, and he probably isn't, right? It was no contest, right? Was it no contest? Yeah, no contest. Accidental clash of heads. So like, people are talking shit about him for wanting the win bonus, and it's like, hey man, these are the same people who were complaining last week that there shouldn't even be a show and win money. Like, obviously he wants his win money. Like, what the fuck, Can't
blame him, dude. Yeah. So
can't
now, half his purse is gone.
Yeah, half his purse is gone. But also, like, how do we still not know what to do in these situations? Like, as the organization, or as the commission, I should say, it's the athletic commission, where they're going in and out. All of a sudden, Chris Taione's in there, and like he wasn't even reffing the fight. And they got your boy, what's his name, the ring announcer. I can't think of his name.
Joe
Martinez, right? He goes in there, and he's like, "You're a winner," and then walks out, and it's like, what are we doing? How do we still not know what to do with the headbutt? Like, how do we still not know? Yeah, there's not many outcomes. There's only a few.
They've only been doing this for 30 years, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I know. It's
Why is
crazy.
there this weird like back and forth?
And I think we're just gonna cover one more fight for the UFC right before we go into One Fight Night 9.
Yeah, I kind of want to gloss over a few of them after, what I mean. But yeah, I mean, because we're gonna skip this next one, Lucindo versus Walker, because I fell asleep during it literally, and then I woke up and I was like, I was so tired, and I was like, Katie, wake me up when the next fighters are in the ring, because I can't do this anymore, and just gave into it. So we'll skip that one. It was terrible. Did you watch it?
No.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I had such a busy couple days, the last couple days, that like I just watched what we needed to watch to cover the podcast today. Yeah, because outside of that, dude, it was just jam-packed days. But we're gonna cover Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Semelsberger.
It's a fun fight. Fun enough to talk about.
Dude, I thought Wells was gonna be out of there in the first round.
Wells throwing like he's on a boat. Throws punches like he's on a boat. Where he swings wild and like he like darts his leg to like stop his momentum and like goes back again. It's like, this guy's got sea legs, It's like,
dude,
it's crazy.
Your boy can wrestle.
Oh, his grappling is legit, dude. It is super legit. Yeah, and Semelsberger can crack. So Wells has a chin, man, because he was eating some massive shots. Massive shots.
Yeah, in the beginning of every round, electrifying, dude.
Getting cracked.
Because it's just like, yeah. Both of them are just throwing shots. He gets cracked. Yeah. But then he's like, let me just wrestle again.
And even his takedowns were beautiful. They were so cool. It was a fun, explosive fight.
It was fun. Would I ever put this on a main card of a pay-per-view or something like that? Probably not. You know what I mean? But it was a fun fight to watch. Props to Jeremiah Wells. Look at that.
Props to Jeremiah Wells.
In the middle of a takedown there.
This is kind of what Curtis Blaydes needed to do, right? Get into a dogfight and then mix in the takedowns because Semelsberger's like, oh, we're swinging and banging. Sweet. This is what I do. And then all of a sudden he's ducked under, the hands are clasped. He's up in the air. Like before he can even realize it, he's not going for a punch. He's going for a takedown. Oh, shit. That's what Blaydes needs to do. But unfortunately, where Wells could take the shots from Semelsberger, barely, Blaydes couldn't take the shots from Pavlovich. But Wells did Wells did such a good job of mixing up the takedowns into everything else, and disguising them. To do that over 3 rounds, where Semelsberger, you'd think it'd be like, oh, he's gonna shoot again, but I could take him out. You just give him that little inch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To like overcompensate.
Very slick of Wells, by the way, to say like, hey, I'm going to wait for my takedown until he cracks me on the chin, and then I'm going to act like my legs are wobbly and fall back against the fence, and then I'm going to go for the takedown.
Man, his legs were wobbly before he got cracked. This man's got sea legs, and I mean that with all due respect.
I believe they called the drunken kung fu. What do they call that? Something like that.
Yeah. Drunken boxing.
All right, man. Now,
so let me gloss over just a couple really quick.
Okay.
Are we moving on?
Over?
Yeah,
we'll move on after this.
So Montel Jackson versus Hani Yahya, great. You got a slick, straight puncher like Montel Jackson who could fire him off in rapid succession against a 100-year-old Hani Yahya. And what do you know? He got a first round knockout. Sick. It's cool. Like finishes are cool and stuff, but not really when they're from mismatches. Norma Dumont versus Carol Rosa was god awful, and they should just close that division down, because what are we doing? That was a title eliminator fight, and it was so bad.
Oh my god.
Muhammad Usman versus Junior Tafa. If maybe this is why I fell asleep in the Broken Walker fight, because this fight was hard to get through.
That bad, huh?
It was really, really bad. It was clear that Junior Tafa is making the right decision by going down to light heavyweight after this. Muhammad was just too big, and a wet blanket, just a 280-pound wet blanket. It was so bad. And now we can move on. I just wanted to talk about those really quick.
Did he say that was just 70%?
He's like, I wasn't even using my full percentage.
Yeah. All right. But we do have some a moment of silence to go over.
Yeah, a moment of silence. Really, the only thing I kind of miss is the Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone, but that got rescheduled, and I think is that a main event now?
No, can't be.
I think they moved that to a main event for the fight night. Yes, that is now the main event because Saryukin versus Moicano fell through. So yeah, Song Yadong is fighting Ricky Simone in the main event.
Okay,
that's what we're doing nowadays.
That should be fun though. It should still be a fun fight, but
it's a great fight.
Main event.
It's a great fight, but yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, we just had Max Holloway.
I know, dude.
Think about that.
Yeah,
we just had Max Holloway on the fight night main event, and then we were like, all right, let's get Ricky Simone in there with Song Yadong.
It's tough, man. And then the other ones fell through, but like honestly, do you miss any of these ones?
No, but
terrible
some of these folks got paid.
Yeah, they did.
Some of them got bonuses.
Yeah, Montel Jackson got a bonus for knocking out a 100-year-old. Christos Giagos got a bonus versus Ricky Glenn. That was a decent fight too. Giagos really put it together. Rick Glenn with a really weird style throughout the whole fight got him finished. But props to Giagos for that. He deserved the bonus. Bruno Silva got a bonus for finishing Brad Tavares, but he deserves it. And Sergei Pavlovich gets a bonus. Notice there's no fight of the night.
Yeah, and so that's at first I saw this and I was like, hey, all right. There's 4 bonuses that were handed out. And then I thought about it, I was like, no, but we're missing the fight of the night where both the fighters get a bonus.
Yeah.
So it's really like it's the exact same amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's not often where there's no fight of the night on a card. Even the UFC was like, sometimes just like the poster, sometimes you take a shot, sometimes you miss. That's what they did with the card.
Oh man. All right. Well,
But
now we'll move on.
Thank God for
to
Chachi.
One Fight Night. Right? Prime 9, was it?
Yeah, One Fight Night 9.
One Fight Night 9. Pretty fun.
Which on paper was kind of one of the weaker ones that they've put together so far for the prime cards. But yeah, if it weren't for this card, it would be a tough week of fights. It'd be a tough week of fights.
Well, I'm glad that we had the main event, which was Nong-O versus Jonathan Haggerty.
Dude, and shout out HLB Comer. Good to see you.
What's up, HLB Comer?
Haggerty versus Nong-O. You know what's funny about this? I mean, just to preface this for people who don't know, but this fight was everybody was complaining about this fight when they made it. Everyone was saying,
really?
What are we doing? Haggerty does not deserve a title shot. Nong-O's way out of his league. There's other guys he could be fighting. What are we doing giving Haggerty a title shot? And then he comes out there and pulls off one of the biggest upsets in Muay Thai history. This was insane. I mean,
so for somebody that hasn't been watching one for very long, right?
Yeah.
And I hear of the legend of Nong-O.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some fights of Jonathan Haggerty. Yeah, watch his last fight. I've seen some fights of Jonathan Haggerty already. And so going into this, I was like, look, I've seen Jonathan Haggerty go up against Rotang. So this should be pretty good. You know what I mean? Distance control was amazing from Haggerty. He looked the bigger fighter, and he fought like the bigger fighter in there last night. And there was just this one thing where, like, I noticed with Nong-O, he seems like a really exciting fighter. And then as soon as like he decided to start trading with Haggerty up close, like his hands just came down just a little bit. Yeah. And he kept on doing that.
Well, that's the difference, right? With the 4-ounce gloves in Muay Thai, they're used to the big gloves where you can block a lot easier. It's harder for the shots to slip in. So the punching is slightly different. That's why kind of like the Dutch style Muay Thai is going to maybe start coming through in these one cards, because they introduced like the boxing into Muay Thai a little bit more. But Nong-O's kicks are what's so crazy about him. And he threw a couple inside leg kicks that really, you could tell they stung Haggerty. And he even said, he's like, once I ate those leg kicks, it was like, I need to turn this on now. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night for me.
Ooh, bad, huh?
Yeah. And there was a point where Nong-O threw the kick and Haggerty caught it and dumped him. And I was like,
yep.
Oh, Haggerty has been training for Nong-O, because the kicks are electric from him. And that's what you have to negate. And if you're going to win. There was another time where Nong-O threw the leg kick and Haggerty was just like, bop, bop, bop. Just the 1-2 uppercut.
Yep.
From real long, like you said, the distance management. And Nong-O was just shelled up, but they got through. And I was like, oh, man, we might have a fight here. And then, oh, my God, dude. And then he threw this combo where it was a jab and then a right hook to the body. And it was just bop, bop. And they both landed clean. And I was like, that's nasty. He steps back and then goes to throw it again. And you can see it's the same setup. And you can see Nong-O start to curl like he's going to eat the shot to the body. But instead of that right hook to the body, it was just a nice little right straight where Haggerty leaned like he was going to throw the hook to the body. But instead he came over the top with it. And it just snuck in right on this back piece of the jaw of Nong-O and just shut him off for a second. And I was like, holy shit, he dropped him in the first round. And I was in the 1FC Discord, and everyone was like, oh shit. Because right before that, everyone's like, pretty much a foregone conclusion, Nong-O's going to win this fight. And then he stung him right there, dropped him. Everybody's freaking the fuck out in the chat. And he gets up and he's wobbly. And we're like, oh God, he does not look good. He gets the 8 count, puts his hands up. The boss is like, let's go. And immediately, bop, 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 straight punches. He's down in the corner. And it was like, oh my God, if he gets another knockdown, it's over. And then Haggerty was like, who gives a fuck about 3 knockdowns? I'm about to flatline this guy. And he pushes him up against the ropes. And he's like antsy, ready to get back in there. And he gets the standing 8 count. He's good to come back. And Haggerty's ready to go. And the boss is like, whoa, dude, back the fuck off. Like, we got to reset. Starts it again and immediately pushes him against the ropes, steps away, bop, 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 and just fucking drops him. I mean, it looked sped up the way he fell.
Yeah, and I think this is a shot where Olivier Costa's like, probably should have stopped it earlier. Look at his face. He's like, Uh, no, so I was worried. Yeah, thanks, Rich. He zoomed in on his face. I was worried because Haggerty, you mentioned how anxious he was to get back in there to finish Nong-O. And I was like, dude, it's buying Nong-O extra time right now because Olivier had to continue stepping back and pushing away. And then went up to Nong-O, was like, walk towards me. And then turned around, had to push him back. And walked back up to Nong-O. I was like, dude, every single second counts here, right? So I was a little worried that, like, dude, you're giving him too much time. And then he's like, nah.
Dude,
I'll put him out right now.
I'll put him out right now. Basically, I'm trying to pull up because we can actually show. I love this fucking picture. It's a great
picture.
This was, once he finished him, it was like you couldn't even read anything in the chat because it was just like everybody's freaking the fuck out. He was not supposed to. Oh, I'm not gonna say he was not supposed to win that fight. Like he was brought in to lose, but nobody thought he was gonna win, and especially not by first round knockout with 2 knockdowns right before. Like that was, the scene after with the confetti and it's like, it's just so big, It was so big.
Man. What a moment though, and see, so for me, somebody that again hasn't been watching one very long, I wasn't like going nuts. So you're telling me that this would have been like the equivalent to, like, let's say when Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, this is like Buster
Juliana
Douglas,
Pena?
Mike Tyson. This is like Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
This is
pretty big.
It's potentially the biggest upset in Muay Thai history. It was insane, and it's not like
I got to witness it. Fantastic.
You got to witness it. Yeah, it was just so crazy, dude. Nobody expected Nong-O to get finished like that because to set the stage a little bit more. Nong-O, he has like 265 wins or some shit like that, 270 wins, something like that. Never really like a finisher. He was kind of like a point fighter, but this run that he's on going into this is like legendary run. He's fought in the 5 best guys that one has to offer, all very good guys, and not just beat them all in a row, but finish them all. And he was not a finisher.
Wow.
It's like he just flipped a switch and started finishing guys. And so he stops 5 of the best fighters in the world back to back. Like it was an insane run. And then, so this was like, going into this, I was like, I love Haggerty, but I kind of want to see Nong-O get the finish just so we can continue to witness this like insane run that he's on, legendary run.
Yeah.
And then Haggerty was like, who gives a fuck about legends? And then just
legend killer.
Starched him.
I'm a Haggerty fan. I like it.
Very fun fighter, right? Look at this.
You have some more on this fight?
Yeah, because
pull up some pictures, or
we'll pull up something just because because ONE FC is fucking awesome and they let us do this shit.
Yeah,
because why? We could talk about it, or
we could show it.
So here's the first one. I thought it was a headbutt when I first watched it. Watching it live, I was like, oh no, it was a headbutt. And then it was that sneaky right hand. Bam, that drops him.
So quick, man.
So they let him up. And then here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Dropped. And look at him. He's like, I need to get this finished. Look at him, so antsy. It's crazy, dude. Yeah.
Oh, dude, he comes in with that flying right.
Yeah. And then
that elbow. Oh my God. What a shot. Yeah.
I cannot believe he pulled that off.
The way he waves it off after he just falls flat on his face. He's like, yeah, no shit, dude.
Yeah.
1, it's a 3rd knockdown. 2, he's flatlined.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
And what's funny? They're like, the commentary could have been better, but they're like, during the replays of it all, they're talking about the 3 knockdown rule and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, he was out. We don't need to. Even if that was the first knockdown, it was over. We don't need to hear about the rule right now. He was out.
Yeah, when you face plant like that,
it was so nasty, man. Just he steps away and he's dropped like a sack of potatoes, man. It was not like a stumble. Like he was out before he hit the ground. Nasty.
Yeah, it was good. Hey, congratulations, Jonathan Haggerty.
Seriously.
I feel like these guys fight so often, even after
they do. Yeah,
they get knocked out.
And that's kind of been, some people have kind of aired on the side of caution with this 4-ounce Muay Thai because it's a big shakeup for these Thai fighters who are used to fighting so often, but to switch them up and put them with these gloves to fight that often with these gloves is pretty dangerous.
Yeah. All right, we'll see when we get to see Nong-O in there again.
Fun to watch.
All right, do you want to move on to the co-main?
Yeah, dude. Speaking of fun to watch, man.
All right. We had Maurice Abévi versus Halil Amir.
Yeah. And going into this one, I picked Amir. Abévi is a wild fighter. I've never seen him before. And in the chat, I was like, dude, talk about getting put off balance, right? Or putting yourself off balance and out of position to eat shots. The whole first round was just Amir rocking this guy. And Abévi's just throwing spinning kicks, throwing overhands where he's moving across the whole ring and just getting clipped left and right. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a bad night. And then I thought he won the second round.
Yeah. Dude, fun fighter. The one thing you already pointed out that I noticed I have here on my notes was he found himself and put himself in a position to be off balance so often.
Yeah,
and, dude, the thing is, Amir was cracking him too. Not to take anything away from Amir, but it doesn't help when, you don't have a solid base and you're getting cracked and your body's flailing like in a couple different positions because you just don't have that solid foundation. You're off balance.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that didn't help out. But, dude, there were some fun exchanges in Amir when he got him in that, what was it?
Almost like a knee bar split type
the modified
thing.
Knee bar, yeah.
Well, Abévi almost got him with a calf slicer. I was like, holy
in the second
shit.
round.
I was like, of course this guy is going to be the guy that lands a calf slicer because he's just throwing these crazy exchanges. This guy's wild. And he gets in the calf slicer, and I was like, of course this guy's going to get this. And then Abévi's like,
nah. So that, and then you had the almost got him in the rear naked choke at the end. Amir did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But between the grappling exchanges, Abévi kind of being all over the place with his body and having wild exchanges, it was a fun fight for sure.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, Abévi, I mean, he was 6-0 coming into this. So he's very green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, this was good. This was a good long fight for him to really learn a lot from and go back to the drawing board from. I expect to see him a little bit more refined in his next fight. But it was one of those fights where going into after the first round, I was like, this dude is wild. He's just going to get knocked out. By the end of the fight, I was like, I want to see Abévi more. I want to see this guy. This guy's fun, man. Like, win or lose, this guy's fun to watch. He's entertaining.
Oh, man.
And Amir's very solid. So he climbs to 9-0. And you can see the patience. He was cracking them, but wasn't getting overzealous because that's when you get caught by some wild man like Abévi, is when you get a little too crazy for the finish. So it was a fun fight.
Very fun fight. Before that, let me see. Who else do we have? Okay. We had Masunyane versus Minowa.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I fell asleep during this fight, and I had to rewatch the other ones, in the morning, the next morning.
This was this very strange fight.
It was a very strange fight, and I did not feel good watching this. For some reason, for one reason or another, I texted you, and I was like, I feel wrong for watching this fight. And I don't know what it is.
Was it the fact that Bokang is he's 5'1". We need to hear those names again, please. Ramiro, go for it.
All right. Bokang Masunyane versus Hiroba Minowa. That's right. Been working on it.
That's right. Been working on it. Shout out. Okay, so first round, Bokang lights up Minowa's nuts with a kick. They had to take some time. But then, man, he mixed in the takedown so well. Where he got the takedown, he gets into side control. He shall become beautiful. Bokang has him on the ground in side control and is leaping up with his feet to launch his legs up in the air and then come down with knees to the face. And it was beautiful to watch. It was so cool.
It was brutal.
It was brutal, dude. I mean, he's like doing the worm, but like at the
now,
top.
When you say lifting his feet up, like it was really like this.
Yeah.
And slamming it back down.
Shooting that knee back in.
He might have the longest torso on the shortest set of legs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about someone else who looked like that.
Your favorite?
Kelvin Gastelum.
Oh, yeah.
Kelvin Gastelum, just long. He's a fridge. But yeah, the fight kind of slowed down a little bit after that. There was a nasty slam that Bokang landed where Herb Dean was like, was it Herb Dean that ref for this one? I think it was.
Herb Dean, it was.
Yeah, and
we're talking about how he flew across the country to mess up fights, or across the world, actually.
Yeah, across the world to screw up more fights. But
yeah,
it was a fun fight. Bokang he's right in line for a title shot. He just lost to Brooks. He got rear naked choked in the first round. So maybe this fight will get him a title shot. That's a fun division though, man. These guys
And
are
this
electric.
was flyweight or what was it? Flyweight?
Yeah, 125. But it'd be kind of if it were the UFC, probably more straw weight. It's tough. Some guys would kind of go lower than that. Some guys would go higher. Like because Brooks, the champion of this division, he was in the UFC. So
Okay.
Flyweights.
Well, it was interesting.
Yeah,
for me to watch that.
It's interesting. Yeah,
dude. Okay, now this next fight that we're going to cover. Oh,
best
my
fight of the
God.
whole
Felipe
weekend.
Lobo versus Saemapetch. Fairtex.
Semapetch, yeah. Look at you. Okay.
Hey.
Not Semapetch. Semapetch.
No, Saemapetch. Dude. So Saemapetch, another one of those guys where everybody was like I heard, everybody like, oh, Saemapetch, Fairtex, looking really good. Super excited to see him fight right now. And then, okay,
he's number
Felipe
one.
Lobo.
Rank number one.
Felipe Lobo. Like I'm thinking about the two different fights or the couple different fights we've already covered, right? Where Nong-O gets dropped and you see him standing up and Olivier Costa's like, all right, walk back towards me, rubs the gloves, walk back towards me. And then, he's like still on wobbly legs. And I'm like, oh no, this is all bad. Now Felipe Lobo gets dropped, bounces right back up. And he's like, I'm good, dude. Shakes his head.
Like, no. And he's just staring
like,
down Semapetch.
Like, whatever, dude. Yeah.
He's just staring down Semapetch the whole time.
We got ourselves a fight. When that happened,
the first yeah.
I was so excited.
Because the first round was like kind of a feeling out process, right? Good teep kicks to the body from Lobo. Semapetch doing a great job with his leg kicks. He's got the lean back on the high kicks. He'll lean back on the high kick and dodge a Matrix style.
Defense, dude,
and then
so awesome.
And then he'll throw the leg kick right after.
Yeah.
And then the second round, they start trading a little bit more.
Look at that. That's straight up Matrix stuff, dude.
And then he landed a leg kick right after that. It's how do you do that? But he in the second round, they're trading more, and they both connect stepbrother style. But Semapetch's left hook was tighter, and it drops Lobo. And like you said, he springs right back up. He's shaking it off. He's shaking his jaw a little bit, stung him, right? They come back, and Semapetch really just walking him down for the rest of that round and just landing on him. And it's like, man, that was a very good Semapetch round. He's probably going to run away with this. And then round 3 started. And round 3, Lobo was like, okay, I thought Lobo maybe edged out the first round, but it was a coin flip, in my opinion. Second round, 10-8 for Semapetch, right? So it's like, man, if you're Lobo, you probably need to go out there and get a finish. And
he knew this.
And you know what he did?
Went out there?
He went out there and he went for the finish. And I can show you what he did.
Oh, please do. Please do.
I have it queued up because I wanted to show this because it's the best thing of the entire weekend. Because it was
okay.
Was it not?
No, it was really good.
I mean, look at this. I mean, look at these guys trading. This is Lobo just got dropped the last round, and he's going for the finish, man. And Semapetch is lighting him up, and he's on the ropes, and they're just fucking swinging, dude. This was insanity.
Again, the urgency
look at these guys
in Lobo.
Look at this.
Wow. And
I mean,
man,
just chaos. And Semapetch is like, hey, I need a breather. And he gets cracked. And it's like, wait, what's happening? Is he about to get the finish? Like
the thing with Semapetch too, it's like, hey, circle out, do something. But it looked like he was just so content to be like, all right, dude, you want to trade? Let's trade.
We're banging.
Yeah.
And Lobo just hunting him down, dude. Refuses to take a back step and then just cracks him on the ropes. Look at that.
Oh my God. Oh, what a finish.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean,
just so you know, this is these are the most or like the longest time Richard Casual spent watching fights right now with the last 2 clips that you shared right now. He's like, all right, that's enough fights for me for the next month.
Yeah, that covers me for the year.
No, but dude, what a performance by Lobo.
Yeah, I mean,
another upset. That's another upset, right?
Big upset. This is another one where everyone's like, you guys ready for a showcase on Semapetch? Semapetch's ranked number 1, man. Lobo just got knocked out by Nong-O right before this. Not right before this, but that was his last fight. Unranked, he goes in there. He gets dropped in the second round. And that's the thing. You fight a guy like Semapetch, the first round is going to be close. Unless you're terrible, the first round's going to be close. And then it's like, okay, but how do you deal with the second round? And he got dropped. And he got beat up the whole second round. So it's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of like what everybody expected. Semapetch's going to run through with this. And then he just went out there in the third and took it to him and wilted him, ultimately. And it's tough to do that to a guy like that. Semapetch is a legend, Crazy fight though.
Crazy fight, dude. And I'm telling you, that kind of set the rest of the card up for me. That one right
well,
there.
I texted you, right? I texted you before that fight. I was like, hey, this one right here is the one that's gonna turn it all up. Like, this is the one.
Yeah.
And they went to war.
It delivered, dude. It delivered. All right. Before that, we had Denice Zamboanga versus Julie Mezabarba.
Hey, that Mezabarba is a lot easier for you, huh?
Mezabarba.
Mezabarba.
Definitely a lot easier for sure.
Yeah. Denice, man. She's so good. She's so good. And going in Denice. Yeah. I just watched that Key and Peele like 2 days ago.
Again, it never gets old, dude. Never gets old.
He just breaks the clipboard. But this fight was fun, man. Denice really went out there and started trading with her early, and I didn't expect that. They were swinging and banging. There was a lot of swinging and banging on this card, and I was all there for it.
But Mashy, dude, Denice found that 1-2 that landed. And she's like, "Oh, let me try it again." And like straight up at one point, I counted it. Did 3 in a row. 1-2, step back. 1-2, step back. 1-2, step back. And Mezabarba was like, I think she's gonna throw the 1-2 next, and like finally like adjusted. But I was like, God damn, girl, come on.
Well, what's funny too is Denice is like a jiu-jitsu specialist, right? She's really good on the ground. So I was, and Mezabarba's a striker. So I was like, Denice is gonna have to take this down, and instead she just went to war with her. And Mezabarba was the one that was starting to try to take it down, and I was like, do you really want to do that? And then I mean, there's not really too much to talk about in this fight, but it was a very fun fight.
No, the only other thing I wanted to point out was I loved Denice's urgency in bouncing back up whenever Mezabarba did throw her down or take her down. And I mean, like, slammed her down up in a second. Like, she bounced right back up, and that happened a couple times. I was like, all right, there we go. Like,
there we go.
That's those hands. Michael Bisping would be very happy.
Yeah, he's always harping on that, right?
Michael Bisping would have been very happy.
Position.
Don't accept it,
What is that? Who is that? That was a great accent.
Man. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Yeah. HOB Comer already knows, too. I'm not very good with accents, so it's all good, dude.
Nah, I like them.
All right.
I
think that was it, right? Those were all.
I think that's all we're going to cover. Ten-Pao versus Han was also very good earlier on this card. That's a fun fight to go back and watch. Ten-Pao looked fantastic. But yeah, good card. And thank God for it, because, man, that UFC was tough.
The card was definitely tough. What do we have coming up next?
Yeah, what do we have next? I haven't even looked.
Yeah, dude, we should probably.
Is it the Song Yadong card?
Oh, by the way, Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. We had that too. Went through and watched it. Ryan Garcia gets dropped early in the fight. Mm-hmm. He was feeling himself, man, because that first round, big feeling out process. Yeah. Big feeling out process. But Ryan Garcia was still the one that was putting the pressure on. Had Gervonta on his back foot a little bit. And I had read, hey, Garcia's going to want to have a faster start, right? Yeah, he's going to want to have Gervonta Davis on his back foot, which it seemed like, okay, that's where it's heading. HOB Comer says, loves the voice, too. Thank you. Yeah. Even with the terrible accents. And then you could see Gervonta Davis. I think he only threw 7 punches that first round. Mm-hmm. And you could see him just downloading information. His
defense is so good.
So good, man. And he keeps the left hand cocked back the entire time. Like, no matter what, like, he's range finding with the right, bobbing and weaving, and pop, the left straight so fast. Yeah. And there's one where Ryan comes in and he kind of throws a left, and he kept on doing this thing where he's throwing the left hook, and then he would try to duck out and move back whenever he would throw the left hook. Got. So he throws this left hook, ducks down, and right as he ducks down, Gervonta hits him with a massive left right when he's like hunched over like this, and he just falls straight back. But props to Ryan, gets right back up, shakes it off a little bit. He's like, I'm good. A little bloody blood on the nose there after that hit, but it's whatever, right? But dude, again, I was very impressed with the pressure that Ryan Garcia was putting on Gervonta the entire night. Now, after that knockdown, he was a little more hesitant. Wasn't throwing as much. He was more calculated with his approach, which is what he needed to do. But Gervonta Davis, man, I don't know what the heck he has in those gloves. Because every time he connected, you could just
call him Tank for
hear
a reason.
and tell the difference in power. And did you see the actual the shot that led to the finish?
Yeah, dude.
Now I saw a lot of people
was that a 6-second delay.
Yes, something like that. But I saw a lot of people shitting on that, and they're like, "I'm done with boxing. That was so rigged." Oh, dude, yeah, what? I'm telling you.
People are ridiculous, man.
I at first I was like, "What happened?" I need to see a replay. Yes, it was very sneaky. He's down, he's ducking out, and as he's backing up, boom, big shot. Yeah, big shot right to the ribs. Monster Tony says, "When does the MMA talk start?" Man, you missed. We already covered UFC. We covered UFC Fight Night. Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes, and Curtis Blaydes' terrible chin. We covered one Fight Night 9 with Nong-O, the legendary Nong-O getting knocked out by Jonathan Haggerty, and now we're on, I guess you could say miscellaneous with some boxing.
Miscellaneous. Shut up, Monster Tony, though. Hey, HLB Comer says boxing is dead. It took ages for the main event to start. Nobody watched the fights before, and the main was fucking boring. Two little guys. Fuck, is this the best boxing has to offer? God bless the UFC.
HLB Comer, I'm telling you, dude. So I reached out to one of my friends. I was like, "Hey, hit me up when the fight's about to start." And he texted me back. It's like, "It's starting now." I was like, "Okay, I'm scrambling, right? I'm going. I get my stuff ready." 15 minutes later, it starts. I see Gervonta Davis walking out with the rapper. I see all this other stuff. Dude, it's taking so long for the fight to start. Man. They drag it out. And then, you have the national anthem. Then you have the big announcement for Gervonta Davis. And then you have the big announcement for King Ryan Garcia. Then they're taking off, their robes. And it's just such a long process. And even after Garcia gets finished, we're waiting another 10 or 15 minutes for Gervonta to be done going around and jumping on the turnbuckle. And, oh, my God, dude, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's
But
tough.
Solid shot by Gervonta Davis. Solid shot, man.
Very good shot. Yeah, I mean, going into this would have been a pretty big upset if Ryan pulled this off. There's
I believe it was minus 220 for Gervonta going into this, plus 170 for Garcia.
I thought it should have been even wider. We were talking. One of the guys that I work with, he was a former pro boxer, and we were talking about it. And he's like, dude, there's no way Ryan pulls this off. Like, there's absolutely no way. We're all talking about it, like, dude, there's no way. And then sometimes you get the Haggerty upset over Nong-O. Sometimes the favorite just styles on somebody.
But I will say this, and dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan because, all those body shot challenges on YouTube with YouTubers and stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of his name and clout started growing from all the stuff that, viral videos with Jake Paul and Logan Paul.
Well, he's got a nasty left hook.
He does.
He starches people with that left hook.
But that's all he came in undefeated. Gervonta Davis came in undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
They both decided, right? Both considered really good fighters, and said, let's fight each other to see who's the best. And to HLP Comer's point, this is another thing that's killing boxing, where it's taking forever for us to see the best fight the best.
Yeah.
Right? Earl Spence versus Crawford. When are we going to see that? We've been hearing it over and over and again. But props to Davis and props to Ryan Garcia for having the cojones to say, you know what? We're both considered some of the best. Let's see who the best between us is. Let's do it. So props to them, dude. Props to them. That's my my spiel on that.
Yeah. HLB Comer says, I thought it was weird how he stood up right after the count. Like, what? Are you no longer hurt? I think he was still hurt. But I think in that moment when he's getting the count, he's already decided, like, I cannot continue. I could stand up right now, but I cannot continue. So he's just going to stay on the knee. I think that's pretty much what happens.
And HLB Comer says props that they even fought, but why was it a catch weight? There was a big thing about
boxing bullshit.
Because boxing. And then there was the rehydration clause in there too, where Ryan Garcia can only rehydrate a certain amount. And
it's ridiculous.
Yes. Great point. Yeah, they should have just been like, hey, you want to fight? Let's fight.
Because, like, that's the type of shit that I hate in boxing, and, like, the automatic rematch clauses. It's like, what are we doing? Automatic rematch clauses in the contract for a fight? Get the fuck out of here with that.
And did you hear the Oscar De La Hoya when he was talking in the press conference before the fight, all coked out of his mind at the press conference? And that's
takes his shirt off. He's like, "Have you guys seen my fake abs?" Like, fuck, dude, I've been putting them out there.
And he's talking about, he's like, hey, when you have somebody's team that says, we're going to do it at this catch weight. When you have somebody's team that says, hey, there needs to be a rehydration clause. When you have somebody's team that's putting out all these extra stipulations to make this fight happen, and Ryan's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. One of these teams is a little concerned. One of these teams is a little more worried than the other. And I was like, I see where he's coming from. They're trying to protect their fighters, right? But man, it was I enjoyed the fight. The boxing event itself was a little bit of a
That's nightmare. The thing. That's what sucks though, because the sport is good. Like the fights themselves are good. It's just everything else ruins it. We didn't really talk Bellator. The boy Yancy Medeiros got a good finish. Patchy mixed with that step in knee. Oh my god, that's becoming the go-to move. We've seen like 5 of them in the past like 2 months. I mean, just nasty. Pico, looks like a world beater still. They actually had the from what I've seen, I didn't watch the whole event, but from what I saw, Bellator had a much better night than the UFC did. And that's rare. It's rare. But God, do they need to do something about their commentary? Big John McCarthy is awful. Awful.
Better ref.
He was a good ref. You should go back to it. Because he is terrible at commentating. It just kills all excitement. It's like you get a nasty finish, like the mixed fight. You step in knee, flatlines him, and Big John's like, "Oh, he's out." And it's like, what are we doing, dude? You should be freaking out, man. Add to the excitement, please.
I mean, dude, say what you will about the combination of Anik, Rogan, and DC, but when there is a big finish. And they're all screaming at the top of their lungs and super excited. Like you see the fan in them at the same time. You know what I mean? Which is pretty.
What was the last one where Joe's like pushing Anik off the chair as Anik's still trying to commentate? It's so funny. It was the Izzy one. I think it was the Izzy fight.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. And Anik like literally had to somebody had to hold Anik up so he wouldn't fall. It's so funny. All right, man. So it seems like the next card.
Conspiracy theory though? Tinfoil hat.
What?
Ever since they started showing the commentator cam for the reactions, I think they overplayed a little bit too much.
Like the announcers?
Yeah, I think they're specifically told to, hey, you're on camera now. These get good reactions on like social media and stuff. Like you need to play it up.
Hey, you watch that dirty little mouth of yours, dude.
I think that's what they do it. HW Comer says, agree. He does not have the personality. Didn't enjoy the podcast either, Big John. His podcast is awful. And look, don't throw stones in a glass house. I honestly don't know if our show's good or not. It's fun to do, and that's why we do it. But, man, listen to Big John and Josh Thompson.
We at least have fluctuations in our voice, though. When things happen and we bring up different subjects. John's like this the entire way. Yeah. Very monotone.
And, hey, did you know that I was there when we created the rules? It's like every time I hear him talk, he's talking about the fact that he was there. It's
I'm the one that told him no knees to the grounded opponent.
I'm the one that had to concede the 12-6 elbow, and he uses that like he uses that to validate his opinion on finishes or on weird things that happen in the sport. And it's like, yeah, dude, you were there, but so was the guy who outlawed 12-6 elbows. So what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, great. That doesn't mean your opinion's always right.
Also,
his son, terrible judge. Terrible judge.
Dude, you're going after the entire McCarthy family right now. What's wrong with you?
Bring
them all in. Line them up. I'll chop them down.
Yeah.
All right. UFC Fight Night, Song versus
with all due respect,
Simon. Song versus Simon.
That's what's next.
Looks like yes, we're gonna have Song versus Simon. Song Yadong.
Saychek, let's go. That's my boy.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
We have Kai Bohalio. Cody Brundage will be fighting. Rodolfo Vieira will be fighting.
That's a decent fight. Yes, I would imagine the Brundage wrestling is going to negate all the submissions of Vieira, and it's going to be that type of fight. Waldo Acosta.
This is an interesting fight too. Yeah, that's the one I was about to point out.
Cortez versus Delino. I mean, no, that's what's wrong with heavyweight in the UFC. That's going to be a terrible fight. I cannot stand Waldo Acosta.
Juicy J's back in there.
That's a fun fight. Julian Erosa's the boy.
Natan Levy.
Yeah, that's a fun fight. Cody Durden's back against Charles Johnson. Interesting.
I think that this upcoming card. I mean, I know that it doesn't have the most exciting main, but I think it's still going to be better than this last card that we just watched.
Yeah, definitely.
HOP Comer's asking prediction for
predictions. Quinlan, Acosta, Brundage, Oleksiejczuk.
Hey, dude, calm down. He just said main event.
Oh, main event. Oh, hey, you asked for a little bit, I'll give you the whole show. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's hilarious.
You missed the opportunity for Yadong Simone. Yeah, I think Yadong is gonna take this one. Ricky Simone is very good though. I think he's super underrated. But I think
Ricky Simone.
Oh, really?
Give me Ricky Simone, man. I love Song Yadong.
Boy. He did.
I love Song Yadong. But man, Song Yadong's the last of the alpha males.
He didn't beat your boy.
No, he lost to Uriah Faber in his comeback.
Yeah, Uriah, they got his number, man. Ricky Simone is very good, but his strengths are something that alpha male excels at, and I think Song Yadong's gonna pick him apart.
Yeah, and Monster Tony says, "I love Yadong." That's yes, Song Yadong. Yeah, it's very nice.
Man, what a name!
What
a name, man!
Might be the best in the UFC. You do have Haniyaya, which is pretty good. But Song Yadong is a very hard one to
I don't think to surpass. Beat it.
It's tough, man. I mean, you have names with nicknames like Superboy Choi. Superboy Choi is one of my favorites, but Song Yadong, you can't beat it, dude.
I don't think you can.
You can't beat it. No. And I think I've said this before, but my good friend Chris Haverda said, when you have a name like that sounds like it should be illegal, something that's illegal in a few states, it's a good name. Song Yadong. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Monster Tony, HOB Comer, greatly appreciate it. For anybody that's joining us for the first time, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long way. That way you do get notified whenever we do go live. And if you're wondering, like, hey, I wonder where I can find these guys, storyofthefight.com.
Yeah, lists every single platform.
Yeah, we're trying to reach 3,000 subscribers. I feel like not that long ago, we're like, hey, we're trying to reach 200 subscribers. And then we're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. And now we're saying, hey, we're trying to reach 3,000 subscribers. So it's all appreciated. Thank you so much. Monster Tony says, I'm going to go watch back from the beginning. Please do and let us know what you think. Monster Tony, I want to know what you thought about the main events. And then, also, so everybody knows this podcast here, produced by Richard Bustos. No? Okay. Hey, there it is. Delayed like
shout out HOB Comer.
Right, go see a shot. All right, everybody, thanks for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.